Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, this is Bruce Marshall with Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Wednesday, October the 16th. And we just kicked off earnings season yesterday after a really crazy last couple of weeks with tons of, China trade talks and tariff talks. We got the Fed thrown in there. Now we've got earnings thrown in there to, stir in the pot and see what happens. And as usual, we'll start with the S&P here. And today we ended up on the day being down about 6 points on the S&P, so not too much. Back and forth. We kind of ended up where we started, which was 5 or 6 points, lower than where we closed yesterday. So didn't make a lot of headway one way or the other. Let's go back here for 3 days and look at, and what we've had this week. So right here, this was Monday. We had completely nothing all day. We should have all taken off. It was, Columbus Day and a holiday. The bond market was closed. There was nothing going on. I suppose a lot of institutional traders, I suppose, were not trading that day or had a long weekend or whatever. But anyway, we came in rip-roaring up here on Tuesday, but if you notice, we kind of hit that 3,000 level right there, and then really just after that, we just kind of flatlined the rest of the day. Down below it a little bit, above it tiny bit, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Not what I was expecting. Let me pull this in. Not what I was expecting. I was thinking that the 3,000 level would be a pretty meaningful level, and once we got through it, which we did barely, that would kind of open the door and we would actually get some momentum, or surely we'd get followed through today, and we did not. Lower and just kind of down today. So not sure, as far as this week, what to make of that. But the market just closed, and we just had some earnings. So we'll talk about that in a second. But everything now is kind of shifting focus from China onto earnings. We had United Health report, big Dow component, and IBM Dow component just reported they missed pretty good drop in the stock. It's still early. We'll have to see what happens. CSX, which is one of the biggest transport stocks, reported they actually had an earnings beat but a sales miss. The stock is up a little bit after hours. Again, still early. Hadn't even had the conference call. And Netflix is up after hours as we speak. So by a pretty good amount, actually. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But I'm curious to see what the reaction is to stocks and earnings as we go. Now we've got to keep an eye on China. We've got to keep an eye on earnings next week. We have got Boeing. We've got Amazon. A lot of others sprinkled in there. The next 2 weeks are going to be the kind of the core of earnings season. The week after that, we've got Apple and Facebook, and all the big names, and those can really move the market around. So let me give you an idea what I'm thinking here, and it's kind of sticking to the same thing that I've been thinking and looking at for a while. Let me load these up real quick. Give me a second. Put my voodoo lines on here. Okay, we have continued to come up to this level again. That's an all-time high right there, and we come up, close to it again and again and again. So the big question is, do we finally this time, do we break through and keep going, or do we fail and come back down, catch our breath? And if so, how far do we go? Do we go here? Back to here, back to here, back to here. Where do we go? And the biggest determining factor for a big move this way is some kind of catalyst, like deals off with China or something really bad happening. Of course, could be from the Fed, so forth. I don't really see that happening. And I don't expect that earnings are going to just be horrible. I mean, maybe we'll get deeper into earnings season and we'll have a lot more weaker guidance and so forth, and that'll set a tone for us, and maybe we do go lower. But at this point, they're kicking the can on the China deal. It's still going to happen. It's just not happening yet. And what the final version is, we don't know. They're still kicking the can on Brexit as well. So, you guys know that over the last couple of weeks, matter of fact, last week, the title of the video that I did was fluid trading, meaning back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We might get into that as we approach this again. I'm still looking for a little bit higher, at least back to this level, and I think it's possible we get there by Friday with continued momentum and good news and good earnings and no bad news on China or anything from the Fed. Now, the Fed meets on the 30th this month, so we'll see what they have in store for us then. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm going to keep looking higher. If we don't get the all-time high by this 2 days from now, by this Friday, I suspect it'll be by next Friday. Now, of course, we could flush anytime. That's been the nature of this market lately, and the higher we go, I'm sounding bullish, but the higher we go, the more eager I'm going to be to put some hedging on the downside for that next leg when it does happen. So I guess the bottom line is, I'm continue to look for a little higher back up into the all-time high here, with some hedging on the downside, and again sizing really small, compared to what I normally do. Been sized fairly small lately, and really since this day right here, the all-time high, I've been just super light, and it's paid off very well. Keep nimble and take your shots when they are very good shots, So anyway, I don't have any specific setups right now. Everything is complete limbo with news and earnings and everything. But again, I wanted to let you guys know what I was thinking. The important dates to keep in mind. Next week we've got Boeing. Boeing's the number one component of the weighted in the Dow. We've got Amazon on the 24th. We've got Apple and Facebook both on the 30th. And we'll have a lot of other ones scattered in here as well. So the next couple of weeks, this week's going to be big. The 30th is also the Fed meeting at 1 o'clock on the 30th. There's about a 90% chance that there's a 25 basis point rate cut. It's already baked in at this point, probably. So anyway, those are things to keep in mind and keep your eye open for. But be nimble for sure, and good trading. I'll talk to you guys at the next update. Thanks a lot.